And we back.
Back outside,
Wow.
boys. Something.
There we go. It feels good to be back in the stew.
I'm ready to duck, huh?
All right, you want to go test that? You
Yeah,
probably
I'll
want to
be
do it out
back.
here.
I'll be back.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Kevin Only podcast. Sean's had his fair share of Sean Only podcasts. In fact, one could argue that there haven't been enough Kevin Only podcasts. So, what do I want to talk about in my short time here? Today I'll be drinking a Horchata Fresca, which I got last night. Oh, great. And it's really nice. It's pink. I guess it's like, I don't know how,
Talk about that Horchata Fresca.
I don't know how it ended up pink, because I don't like Frescas. Are they usually pink? I don't think so.
No.
And like Horchata's not pink either.
They're usually white.
So how is like a Horchata Fresca pink?
I think horchatas are white. And then
No, Horchatas are just like, they look like coffee kind of.
No, they look white.
I'm talking about Horchata latte.
That's different. That's a
horchata
latte.
like,
I feel like horchata by itself is white.
Oh. So maybe this is like just Horchata and then Fresca, but Fresca isn't pink. Right? Unless it is.
I'm not really sure.
But like those little like soda can Frescas or whatever, like they're I thought they were white.
Is that a Fresca?
It's a Horchata Fresca.
No, I know that's a Horchata Fresca, but then like are Frescas actual Frescas, or they just have the name Fresca? Because I feel like Fresca's like Latin for like fresh or something like that.
Latin for the. Let me see. Hold on. I'm trying to show.
Show them.
I show the thing without spilling it. Yeah, I think you can kind of see.
You're cutting it close there, buddy.
There you go.
Yeah, it's a little. Yeah. You can see a little bit of there. It's pink. It's pink.
It's good. It kind of tastes like
donkey.
I don't know how to describe it. It kind of tastes like cotton candy, Bev.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
That's kind of what it tastes like.
I thought about it and I was like, ugh. But I was like,
that's kind of good. It's kind of good.
Yeah. I kind of got to get into it. You know what I mean?
Anyway, here we are.
Here we are back.
Yep.
Welcome to the Starbound podcast.
32,
it's your boy
32.
King Cudjo
and Cough Drippy.
This is Cough Drippy again. Yeah. It's episode 30 something.
Yeah. Crazy.
30 something. You know what I mean? Like we've been at this game for quite a while now.
Not to mention like the past few weeks have been insane because
I was gonna say like half of the time for this whole month we just weren't even in the same.
That's what I'm saying.
We're even in the same place.
We weren't in so
last 4 pods, except for like it was like last one, it was a Zoom pod. The one before that we were back together. Last 2 before that, Zoom pods.
This April has been one of the most like packed months I think of my entire life.
I can agree with
somehow.
That. It's been pretty crazy.
It's crazy, and so I think April 1st or 2nd was like Dreamville, right?
Yep.
And now we're at
Dreamville.
April, or is it like 29th or something like that?
I think it's the 28th or the 29th. Let me see if I can have my phone on me. I don't know why I just
Yeah,
it's April 29th now. But I want to tell you this. It's actually international holiday. It's International Dance Day.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Dedicated to a prolific, like one of the gods of like modern ballet dancing.
Oh, word.
My DJ, I was using my AI DJ this morning.
Oh yeah, on Spotify.
Yeah, and my DJ just put me on like, hey, so today's International Dance Day, so I'm gonna play you 5 tap dancing songs.
I had no idea. That means I'll have to dance today because I didn't know that.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, oh, I gotta tell Kevin on the pod because this is a dance legend right here. You feel me? So
I appreciate it.
This is like your holiday.
That's great to know. That's good news. But it's a nice way to wrap up April because it's been nuts. I mean, so we started with you in Maryland.
Yeah.
Right. And then you going to check out
what was it called?
Dreamfest,
which is fantastic, bro.
Right.
Not only did I see Drake and Cole, but I saw Drake, Cole, all of the Dreamville label, Glorilla, Lil Uzi Vert, and Lil Wayne.
Right.
And just like one, and that's just like one set out of the other sets that I saw.
Right.
Greatest festival. I don't think I can ever have a better festival than what I just saw. Had right there.
You were like, I gotta go, and that was was it North Carolina?
Yeah. It was Raleigh, North Carolina. Right. Cool little place. I don't know how to explain it. It's like that city is I feel like it's on the come up or something. Yeah. It's not like New York. It's not Los Angeles. It's not even like all of Maryland, in my opinion. It's just kind of like this little small place that J. Cole is turning into like a popping place to be.
J. Cole he's the one that made Dreamville a thing. So it's like what if he's turning the whole state into a music collective? It's just gonna be like North Carolina.
I would love to. I can tell that I think he wants to do that. I think J. Cole, and it's one of the things I love about J. Cole and Drake, where they came from places where like nobody thought of that place as like the hub of music or any type of art. And then they came out, did their thing, and said, "Nah, come back to where I'm from. I want to show you something."
Wait, they're from North Carolina? No, not Drake.
Drake's from Toronto. Yeah. But before Drake was Drake, Toronto was not the spot.
Right. Toronto was actually called North Carolina. No,
it's a really different name. But no one knew about Toronto. Nobody cared like that. And then Drake did his thing.
But is J. Cole from North Carolina?
J. Cole was born in North Carolina. I don't think it was Raleigh. I think it was like Fayetteville or something like that. And then he moved to New York because he wanted to start his career as a musician.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Rapper. Yeah. Because he knew like at the time New York was like the spot for music.
Right. That's so interesting.
Yeah, very similar to us right now.
J. Cole's got a super interesting career.
No, he has a very. I love how private he is, and then out of nowhere he'll become very unprivate and share everything. Like I like the phase that he's in right now, where he said like he used to be extremely competitive, but now he's chilling. And like one of my favorite things about J. Cole is that he knows his retirement is coming. Yeah. So he's been teasing this thing called the Fall Off for like years.
Bro.
Years. I'm excited. Whenever the Fall Off album, I don't know if it's gonna be an album or like a song.
Fall Off is gonna. Oh, okay. That just reminded me of the teasing thing of the. I mentioned it. I don't think I mentioned it on the podcast, but Chance has been talking about the 10-year anniversary of Acid Rap, which is tomorrow.
Yes, it is.
And so there's something happening for it. I can't tell if it's just like a merch drop or if he's trying to do like another album. I feel like it would be crazy if it was another album. I haven't checked his Instagram.
That's the thing. Chance is due for another album. I feel like the big day happened years ago now.
Right.
Although people flame him for it, people don't actually think Chance is like a horrible rapper.
Right, and I think people obviously love Acid Rap. That's probably I would say that's the overall favorite.
I think Acid Rap isn't just a favorite. Acid Rap might be a classic because I feel like that album is like. So that made a whole vibe, like the Acid Rappers,
and he's having this whole like Acid Rap 10-year anniversary like pop-up store in Chicago from April 28th to April 30th. But like his profile picture just says April 30th and like the Acid Rap letters and stuff.
Yeah, he's teasing a little bit.
So I'm like, is there going to be something else dropped on April 30th?
In my opinion, if I was Chance the Rapper, it would be silly not to drop a new project.
Yeah, and I think
on the 10-year anniversary.
I think it would be a pretty smart business move to drop.
Acid Rap 2 yes, dude. Acid Rap 2 would be fantastic.
That'd be epic.
That'd be really, really because again, like. Chance did drop like 3 songs back to back like a year ago.
Yeah, and those were pretty well received.
Dude, those were all like fantastic writing in my opinion. So obviously he was working on a project. If he had 3 songs in the tuck, right? Where are the other 20 songs for an album?
Yeah. Not to mention, I love like the design of Acid Rap, like the letters, like the drippy letters and like the color palette and stuff like that. I love it. So cool. Yeah. That's always been some of my favorite album art.
No, I think when we go into like music style, especially in hip hop, if I had to choose like 15 different albums to show how versatile hip hop can be and what it can mean, Acid Rap is 100% like in there for me.
Yeah, Acid Rap's so good.
Because I feel like it's like its own thing that birthed like other things.
Yeah, I think so too.
And like it's just a nice vibe.
I can't believe it's been 10 years. That's crazy.
Yeah, it makes it sound old, right? I don't think I understood what Acid Rap was.
I remember bumping that in like Ocean City and stuff like that.
Ocean City.
Yeah.
Ocean City.
Yeah. I remember like Michael and I went to Ocean City one year or something like that. It's probably 2013 probably. Because it's been 10 years. And it was like new then. And it was like bumping Acid Rap in the car and stuff like that. But it actually is so wild that it's been 10 years since that. Because whack. That was like, wow, that's crazy.
It is whack. Dude.
That's crazy. So when we were 13, right?
Don't say it like
that's what I'm saying, bro. 13 years old. That. Like that's like what, 8th grade or something like that?
When we were 13?
Yeah. That sounds right. Because you're 14.
7th or 8th, it depends.
7th or 8th.
Yeah.
So like middle school.
Yeah.
But like our final year of middle school. It's been 10 years.
Our final era. You know what I mean?
How has it been 10 years? Oh, that makes sense, actually.
It does make sense.
Because you
get
like,
damn.
Right, because you get high school and then college and then...
High school, if you add high school and college like back to back,
that's 8 years.
That's 8 years.
That's crazy. You know I mean? That's crazy.
Then you put some years in the front.
And now we basically have a year removed from that, too. So it's like, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Time flies.
It's been a minute, man. We are old.
Time
but it's
flies.
Nice. I like being in this age for me. I think it suits me.
Yeah.
God, I was about to go on about something.
Oh, well, we were talking about J. Cole and stuff, and I wanted to say that, J. Cole's great, man. He really is. Like, almost every single J. Cole song, I think I said this last time, but almost every time I hear a J. Cole song, it's a banger. And, like, because of Dreamville, like, I do those, the Instagram stories for Starbound, and like I do the music ones. Sean does the video clips.
I do the clips.
So that's what we do.
Clippy.
And like,
I don't think they knew that about us. Actually,
I think
that's some business information, right?
Maybe
there.
not. Yeah, but
I guess they can figure it out.
Yeah. And so I was like trying to find a like Drake and J. Cole song to put on like that one. I can't remember which song I ended up actually using. I might have just used. I think I actually ended up using the JID Dreamville song, like the Down Down Bad song. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's
a
fantastic one.
In the meantime, I did find like two of those. There's like two Drake and J. Cole songs. There's like In the Morning and
Jodeci Freestyle.
And like they're both good, but In the Morning is so good. That song is.
I was gonna say for me, I lean the other way. I feel like Jodeci Freestyle is so
really
good.
Okay. So that's cool that we. I mean, that means they're both useful.
Yeah. I love the sample in Jodeci Freestyle just a little more. So like it gives me the oomph.
I don't know. I just love the chorus of In the Morning. It's so good.
In the Morning is hard.
Yeah.
In the Morning is real hard. I'm surprised.
I love it. It's J. Cole on the chorus and then Drake on the verse, I think.
Yeah.
And like that actually, I really like that combo.
That's a good combo. They should do more songs.
They should, especially now that they did Dreamville. Who knows? Maybe they'll.
I'm sure they have at least 5 songs in the vault that they've definitely done. Mm-hmm. But I'm just waiting for like when is either one of them going to be like, all right, this is the song, and it might be the fall off, honestly, because. Again, J. Cole, and I was just watching the documentary with some friends that were here.
The Dreamville documentary?
Not the Dreamville one, although that I think is like the best album documentary ever.
Right.
Ever. But I was watching the Applying Pressure documentary where J. Cole was talking about his like why he created the off season and what it meant for him to be an artist and how he knows that his time when he has to retire is coming soon. Mm-hmm. And he was like, is this where I want to leave my career at, where like I'm satisfied with this and I can just retire? And he was like, nah. So then he made the off season to be like, let me show you new heights that I've never done before. And like, and God, I missed my point. What were we talking about? J. Cole.
Wait. You're talking about how his like final album is gonna be his like send off because
he's been teasing it since like 2015 or something with KOD, where it's like he feels like. Ever since, and he said it in the documentary, like what the fall off is. When his child was born, he felt this ticking clock of like, oh shit, this rapper lifestyle is going to end.
Right.
So he's been working on music to just say like, all right, if it's going to end at this particular time,
let's go.
Let me put out like my final statement. Like, what's my last words as a rapper before I stop being a rapper?
That must feel so weird.
He's the only one that's really like doing it the way he's doing it too.
Gambino said he was done, but didn't you say he was coming back to do another one or something like that?
Yeah, no, he just released a show, and he released some music with the show. So I think it's coming with a project.
Right. Because he said for a minute that it was thought that he was done, but I think he just meant done for the time. I think that's like a lot of the
with Gambino especially. He does every art. But every art needs at least like a year sometimes.
That's what I'm saying.
So he's like, look, I'm done with this shit. I got to do my movie shit and my TV shows.
I don't know how he juggles everything that he does.
I know he definitely struggles with it, right? Because again, the last album that he dropped was like, I guess it was COVID actually. He dropped like a little like sneak album, but he hasn't worked on music in a while. That's just how it goes for all of these different arts.
Yeah.
Right? Disney keeps calling him apparently and being like, hey, we want to do that Lando show. Are you free? And he's like, nah, I'm doing Atlanta.
Right. Yeah, so many other
like, damn, bro. Well, wait, like,
right. It's like people are like the biggest companies are calling him, and he's got to be like, nah, I can't. Like,
he's just busy.
But
very busy.
Yeah, going on with April basically. So that was cool because you and Jay got to go on your quest.
No, we went on our quest to go see Dreamfest and J. Cole and all that. And it was fantastic.
And then and then you came back here, and then we got to do well, you were gone for 2 weeks though, because I
was gone for 2 weeks. So I went to Dreamfest, and then I hanged out with my family, just kind of got reconnected with them, just how life is going. I went to Ashley's birthday party.
Yes.
Which was lit. I see a lot of heads in Maryland that I haven't seen in like years.
Yeah, and then you came back here, or in the meantime, like while you were gone, I was like taking LA by I was like exploring LA by skateboard a lot of the time, which I've been doing, but like that's when I feel like I really started doing like on my Instagram, like the stories of like the just skateboarding and taking the photos and putting music alongside them and stuff like that. It kind of started with like me just skateboarding around, and then like listening to Spotify, right? Like it was be listening to my playlists and stuff like that. And then I was like, this is really fun. So what if I like started taking photos, because I like, like photography and stuff like that, and then just like putting the songs that I'm listening to like in my ears, like on the Instagram stories, and stuff like that.
And then you had a whole stream of just like, let me put these songs and these images together. It was like a journey.
It was really fun. And I feel like I've been kind of rotating like between which like I've been like rotating between like which apps I'm using and like which like sort of media I'm sort of like uploading to and stuff like that. And it's been really fun, but it's been like it's very tiring too.
I'll say you've been constantly, just from what I've seen, you've been constantly on it every hour, all the time.
I would say it's not exactly. I would say it's like kind of more like.
I mean, every time you post something, right?
Yeah,
you're on it.
Right, exactly.
Right, and I think you post something almost once an hour.
It's about once a week.
Like the long
stream. Yeah, like the big ones, basically.
Yeah,
because like
but those days.
So what I noticed is like what I noticed is like Thursdays are like the busy days because of Starbound.
Yeah,
and then it's like
try to leave those pretty like
we have to like because like Starbound, it takes a while, and so
Starbound has a lot of working
because of all the traveling in April. I still have to like do a few things for the last episode, but like so usually like Thursdays are Starbound, and then like Fridays and Saturdays I feel like are kind of like our work days almost. It's weird. It's like, and then usually like earlier in the week, like Tuesdays or Wednesdays are the days I'm able to like get out and explore and like go on the skateboard and do all the other stuff. But then a lot of the time I'll also like be building a playlist earlier in the week to go on the adventure with. I find like the first few times I didn't even like intend it to happen. It's kind of like I just happened to like make a playlist and then do it or something. And I always try to like change it up a little bit just so that it's like semi like varied in like the way it is. But that's been fun, but also trying to like navigate like the LA theater scene. Like I've been to like 8 theater shows this month.
That's good.
Which is great. It's been so fun. And so I'm like studying. And, like,
if you want something, you gotta be a fan and also a doer.
You got to be a consumer and a creator at the same time, which is like tiring because like a lot of the times, especially with movies, it's like how do you watch movies and make movies at the same time?
That's the thing. It's a really delicate balance because you're not just, if you want to make movies, in my opinion, you're not just watching movies to be entertained anymore. Yeah. You're watching movies because it's like, all right, let me see what these people are doing.
Right.
Should I take this as a tool or like a learning lesson and try to do something similar? Let me see if I should do something different. If a lot of movies are looking like this. Who's popping right now? Who's not? Who do I want to work with? There's so many more questions added to when you watch a movie and you want to make movies.
Yeah.
It's a lot more attention, and then like trying to find the balance of like, all right, I'm consuming this, but am I also making it? Like, are they matched?
Yeah, I agree, and I think like it's homework, but it's like it's good. It's the best homework you can have because
it's like, again, that's why like being an artist, in my opinion, is like so awesome because your homework is the stuff that you love.
That's what I'm saying.
Right? That's why a lot of people like being artists, because you love art anyway.
Exactly.
So it's way easier work for you to do.
And that's why it was so cool that I was able to like. Oh, I also read like 2 or 3 plays.
You've been blasting this Shakespeare
month. Yeah. I read I read Richard III and I read Much Ado About Nothing. I think both in April. Actually, Much Ado might have been a little bit before. Anyway, but I also read like a bit of what's it called? A Doll's House, which is Henrik Ibsen, because for some other projects in the upcoming future.
Doll's House. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Is the research.
Yeah. And so basically that's been really fun, but it's been like, wow, like so much is happening. Cause like the traveling is happening meanwhile, right? So you're gone and then you come back. And then the moment you get back, my sister comes to town for Coachella.
All these guests.
Right. Yeah. And so Ashley pulls up with squad.
Great guests.
Great to have them. Great. And
great moments. I feel like awesome. A lot was said with them that is going to stick with me for a while.
It was a great trip. Great, like short trip. It was just like a weekend, but we did so many things.
Like just anytime anyone visits for a weekend, it never feels like just.
That's what I'm saying. And so we went to Disneyland, and that was the first time I've been to Disneyland. Which I am upset that we didn't get to see the flinging Spider-Man. I just thought about that yesterday. Yeah. I was like, we missed that, but it's okay.
We're a bit too late, but
yeah. I'm sure we'll be back there at some point.
No, well, it's literally just what I mean. It's down the block.
It was cool that the highway bus took us right there.
That's what I was saying. I'm like, ooh. If you could tell me it's a one trip, it's to go all the way to Disneyland.
Exactly, yeah.
I take it more often.
That was awesome. And so, but it was really cool. And you know how it is. Like, I just went to Six Flags yesterday, but like, so it was interesting because the Disney parks are kind of more for like the vibes, like we talked about.
It's about the aesthetic. It's about going into a world and having an experience. Yeah. Like that's really Disney's when you go to Disneyland or Disney World or any of those Disney theme parks, they're not meant to like get your adrenaline pumping, or at least not in the way that you think. Right. It's about letting you escape from the natural world,
right,
and allowing your like inner child to just like frolic in this fictitious land.
Yes,
that's their goal.
Yeah, I agree. And but then Six Flags is just kind of like the stripped down, like huge roller coasters type thing.
No, Six Flags different. Six Flags wants to murder.
Yeah. And the best ride was the one that I got stuck on. It was called, or that's one hilarious. Of the ones that I got stuck on. It was called X2, and that one was my favorite just because like it's like
yeah. What's the experience? Well, so like, is it a sit down or is it like a hang up?
It's a like hang. You remember the Batwing at Six Flags near us that we went to for like the 8th grade field trip or whatever?
Yeah.
That one like that. It kind of was like that. Like you're hanging. So like you're kind of like locked in like in one of these and your feet are dangling, and
it's a feet dangle one.
It's a feet dangler, but like it also like it goes like a normal roller coaster and then like spins you and stuff as you're like dangling like that. But it like extra spins you, so it's crazy. And then there was this part where there was like flames, like you were like yeah. So like you're going on this roller coaster, and then
you see what I'm talking about? Where Six Flags is trying to kill you.
Yeah.
Bro?
So these flames just like shoot up, right, and then we just like feel the heat. Like you could actually feel the heat. It was like that hot. It was great. Like you remember at Disneyland how they had that cool like water show at the end, and then they had
like some fire effects and
you could feel the fire because it was like so much fire.
Feel the fire.
It was like that. Yeah, it was like that. It was like we're traveling through and like boom, you could feel it. Was crazy. Anyway, we're not even like there yet because in April, like we're skipping to the end, but like
no, we're skipping to the end here. But I mean, we have a lot of April covered in
April.
In April,
true. Yeah. And so we had that trip, and then right after that, I flew into DC, and then I saw Adam's family.
True.
And we got to go celebrate Shakespeare's birthday, which was really fun.
Yeah. What was celebrating? What's that mean? Celebrating Shakespeare's birthday?
Just like Shakespeare monologues and grape wine tossing, because it was like a festival of Dionysus.
Did Shakespeare love grapes? Why?
No, I think the festival of Dionysus is like a Greek thing that's kind of like just separate, but they happen to fall on the same day or something like that.
I see.
So that was
you
really
did a little bit of both.
Yeah, that was really awesome. And I also just got to roam around DC in general, which was really cool. I like walked down to the Potomac like river and stuff.
Honestly, I feel like for a first timer, DC is like one of the coolest places to explore, day or night.
Yeah.
But then once you've seen it like 3-4 times, doesn't it get a little like
not really, actually. I would say like
Washington Monument.
Well, that's the thing. It's like you've been to the Washington Monument, but have you ever wandered down to the Potomac River?
That's a good point. You know I don't know if I've been down there yet.
Yeah. And so like the nice thing about going back to Maryland for me was that it just so happened there was a lot of holidays, I guess, when I went back. It also happened that Earth Day was one of the days I was back. And it felt like an appropriate day to be in DC because I missed like the trees. I didn't realize how much I missed the trees. So I kind of went on like my usual sort of path adventure that I go on in Rockville, like near my house. And I was on the top of this like parking lot where there's like a good view of like Rockville. And like there were just like hella trees, like so many trees. And I feel like you can feel that the oxygen is just like better in like,
trees really do change a lot about a location. I think Maryland, although I bitch about the humidity all the time, the air quality is like
it was great.
Creme de la
it was
creme,
great. Now the one downside though is that like it's so humid there, and that was never good for my skin. Yeah, I probably like the acne was also because of puberty, but like I've noticed that it's cleared up since I moved out to LA.
I had the exact same experience where like the first time I moved to LA and then came back, my skin was way better.
Right.
I think multiple people kept telling me like, "Yo, like you're like glowing or something like that." I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
I used to have to like use acne removing products and stuff like that in high school and college, but now it's like I don't even have to use them at all. And like
even though the quality of the air here is like definitely worse.
Exactly. It's like so nice. And so that was really cool. And again, like I've explored DC, I've explored the monuments, I've explored, Adams Morgan and all that stuff.
Adams Morgan.
It's just like a popular street, DuPont Circle, been all there, done all that. But then wandering around like more like green areas of DC and like the neighborhoods.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of the green areas in DC. Just like the city looking part.
It was beautiful. It really was. And that's why I took a bunch of photos that I ended up like turning into kind of one of the like skateboard adventures.
Like a story.
Yeah, I turned it into one of those like after I took the photos. Like so I flew back to LA and then did like a story with it. It was
I saw it. It was like
right. It was
kind of cool. It was cool.
Because I was trying to like merge the worlds, kind of like LA and DC, like the adventure.
They definitely have different vibes and aesthetics and story.
It was so green, and then it's like there's like city versus like but they're both like cities and they're on the opposite sides of the country. So I thought the contrast was kind of cool or something like that.
Nice. Definitely, nice.
It was fun.
And went from like grime to like, because again we're in like the downtown part of Los Angeles, to like green, luscious green and stuff. It's like whoa.
I was surprised how much that area, it was called like the Palisades, like was like how green it was in DC. I really didn't like, I feel like I
saw this shit and I was shocked. I was like, this looks like Maryland. Like I can believe Maryland to be this green. It really is that green.
Yeah, DC is too.
DC kind of like that too.
Yeah, it looked beautiful. Some of it was looking like The Hobbit. I was like, what's going on here? Like it was sick.
That one Hobbit song.
Yeah, it was sick. And short trip back home, but like really cool. And then got to fly back.
I was gonna say, while you were out, I was locked in like writing wise, because like again, April for me, other than trips and like fun stuff here and there on the left, has been switching my creative brain to like, all right, instead of being a musician, I'm a writer now. What does it mean to be a writer? So I locked in just like writing the script again. I said on the last pod, I finished my first draft, and I've been talking to people about like, all right, what does it need? Where should I take it? Right. What does the story mean for you? What did you take away from it? Like having those conversations again. And I love it. That's nothing about, I don't know what it is about like movies and storytelling. Also collaboration, right? I was just talking to, Justice was here the other day. I was talking to him about the stories and how I want to expand, because for these first 1, 2, and 3, I want to have a hand in the writing. This first one especially, like I have to write it because I need to not only respect the craft of writing, but understand it, and then be able to understand what's good writing and bad writing.
I feel like also like you then have so much more control over what you are directing because you wrote it. So like that's what I kind of struggle with too sometimes. I'm like, what if I want to like I want to get this story across. I want to do these types of shots, but the only way to confirm that you could do those types of shots or do this story is that you write it yourself, right? But I love writing too, and so it's
an ironic relationship though, because what I've learned, directing isn't actually about control. It's about collaboration. It's about letting the control go and letting other people take control of it. So, but yeah, I have specific like things in my head were like, all right, I want to be able to do these things. If I can do these things, and I'm really that guy. Yeah. And like, I know I'm set if I start working on the writing with somebody else. But how, and this is just me and my brain, but how do you expect to collaborate with other people when you don't even know what they do? Right. So I'm being a writer right now so that I can write. And so when I work with writers, because that's what I want to start doing after this short film. Mm-hmm. Like all of my other shorts, I want to be and features down the line. Like I want to collaborate with writers to make the best story possible.
Yeah, you know what they say, if you, oh my gosh, I completely forgot my train of thought. But it's something like, oh yeah. So you know how they say when somebody writes a villain, mm-hmm. you have to be like, the writer has to be able to think like a villain. You have to be able to switch into villain mode. Yeah. To be able to write a good villain. Yeah. And you just have to do that. That's how it works.
You have to get in the villain's head.
So to be able to, be kind of like work well with writers.
Yeah, you can apply that same thing to to how to collaborate with other
exactly. people. Like to be able to work well with writers, you kind of have to know a little bit about being a writer.
Exactly.
So having a few things written under your belt, and like written under your belt, it doesn't have to be like you have to write a narrative book or something.
No, you don't have to make this whole, it's not about what you do as a writer, it's about being. Right. Specifically being a writer. What does that mean, right? Mm-hmm. So now that I'm being a writer and I'm talking to other writers about writing, and I know down the line, like after this project, I want to collaborate on all my projects with other writers. Like I respect the craft differently, and I've grown to actually love it because I think I've said on this podcast before, writing for me was always like my vulnerability. I feel like I can take something that's written and present it to like the highest form that it can be presented, right? As a director, or I can even edit some things and be like, all right, I have a good sense of timing because I was in music. So I know that when this edit hits like this, you're going to feel a type of way. But the nitty gritty of like creating that detail in the first place on a page, I feel like I don't know how to do that. I was scared. Right. I'm insecure. Well, that's a real thing. I'm insecure about writing when I compare myself to other writers in my, not just my peer group, but up and down.
Well, here's the thing, right? Like we've both written stuff on different occasions. Yeah. If we're talking about who avenged Mr. President, or we're talking about, I had to write, I wrote like a play I wrote it in play form for one of my like acting classes in college, but I ended up adapting it into like a film. I think I talked about this in one of the prior episodes.
Also, Incredibles 3.
Yeah. Which I wrote like in like 2019. Yeah. After Incredibles 2 came out, because I was like, Incredibles 1 is like one of the most like well-written like scripts of all time. Like
I can agree with
and
that.
I remember being like a little bit just like a little bit unsatisfied with the sequel, because I was like, I feel like it could have been tighter. Like the villain wasn't like as tight as Syndrome. Like, and Syndrome, in my opinion, is one of the most like, he's just, because like his motives make sense. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to talk about writing, let's talk about writing.
Yeah, let's talk about writing.
And like to me, and I've mentioned this in the past. Like one of the things I had to do in one of my college classes was like read Hamlet backwards and analyze like the different And so I think in The Incredibles, you really can take every single character and like choose their motive, which is why it's one of my favorite films, because it's just like you can see
you have a very clear like goal that they have.
You can see the goals of each character, exactly. And like Syndrome, like you get what you need from him early in the movie, which is he's this like boy who wants to be like Mr. Incredible, right? But he has no superpowers. He has no like technical qualification being superpowers to become a superhero. He's just some kid. Yeah. And he gets like rejected. He meets his hero. They say never meet your heroes.
Never meet your heroes, man. And then your idols become your rivals.
Right. And so he gets kicked out, like he's thrown to the curb, literally thrown to the curb. It's like these
go home, buddy. I work alone.
Yeah, it's like Brad Bird or whoever. Did Brad Bird write it too? I think
Brad Bird also.
I think he did. Yeah, I think so. Wrote it. And so it's like he's literally thrown to the curb, and then he, because of this rejection, he's like, screw you, I'm gonna, become this like epic, and he already was smart because he already built like the jet boots and stuff like that.
That boy was intelligent, bro.
Right. And so they say you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yeah.
Incredibles is like so incredible. I mean, I know that's like you'd think, wow,
he really had to,
yeah. And like from what I remember reading about the second one, there was like some production issues that got in the way of like the actual villain that Brad Bird wanted to write, which had something to do with like an AI, artificial intelligence, and stuff like that. But it was kind of, to me, it wasn't as tight as the first one.
I was gonna say, I feel like, in my opinion, Syndrome is a perfect like antagonist for Mr. Incredible.
Yeah.
Not only just because Mr. Incredible created him, but he kind of stands in the face of like why all superheroes should actually be gotten rid of. Right. Exactly. This guy that took too much power into his own hands, and here's Mr. Incredible trying to fight for having heroes come back.
Yeah, and
so they come perfectly like against each other. Whereas I feel like in the second one, right now, our main character, I mean, Mr. Incredible is still one of our main characters, but we're now leaning focus on Mrs. Elastigirl.
Well, Elastigirl. I love how
Elastigirl or Mrs.
I love how Elastigirl was the main character of the second one, because she kind of got to showcase her ability, whereas like in the first one, it's like based on the family dynamic of like, mother and father.
Yeah.
And like father has to work a lot.
Yeah.
But then his work turns into like escapade, where he starts lying about work, going out late to work, going on business trips,
to cheat on his wife.
And usually it's to cheat on, this in modern society, when it's like known that like, fathers like, oh, going on a lot of business trips or doing a lot of this, working.
It's a common thing
that it's like an affair, and so she is like raising the kids at home and stuff, and then she literally has to also worry about her husband cheating on her suddenly because he's like hiding the phone calls with Mirage and stuff like that. This movie is like literally one of the best movies of all time. It's so good. And so you get the family dynamic, which is the core of the movie.
Yeah.
But then it turns out that he actually wasn't cheating on her. He just really missed the glory days when he was a superhero, when he was the man.
And you can still say that there's an allegory in there of like missing the glory days.
Yeah.
And it's like when this father was like younger, maybe he was with a bunch of girls at the time. He was a bachelor. Like the idea of like your bachelor years being your young, like your glory days.
Right. But what he didn't understand,
kind of a thing for that.
What he didn't seem to understand, it's incredible, is that like, it's not like Helen didn't miss the glory days too.
Yeah.
She was also like kick ass during the glory days.
Yeah.
And that's what the second one does highlight.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and I appreciate switching it into, let's see Elastigirl and like what was her glory days.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't feel like the antagonist perfectly matched her in the way that Syndrome and Mr. Incredible did. It just felt more like this movie wanted to say something about kids being on screen.
Yeah, I think so too. And I get it, because like that's a good, like, that's good in concept in my opinion. But I think it was like not quite interwoven enough.
It just feels like you throw the Incredibles in there in your story, but it should be centered around.
And for villains, like Syndrome, you meet him at the beginning.
Yeah.
And like it's like if you try to watch like Incredibles and pretend like it's your first watch, like
that's hard to do.
It's hard to do, but it's like you don't immediately know who the villain is.
No.
But you're
kind of introduced to the hero first.
You're introduced to the hero, you're introduced to Buddy, and you probably know that Syndrome's going to come back because he's like, it's kind of weird that there's like kid.
They hint that like, all right, this kid might be important to the story, but you have no idea.
Right.
Why.
So you could probably guess that Syndrome's a villain, but it doesn't really matter because it's like he's still they don't mess with, they don't, it's not necessarily a mystery. But there's still like very many like spy elements.
But they don't tell you directly, hey, this is the villain of the story. There are some movies where like, we can actually, because we just brought up Dark Knight, right? In that very first scene exactly who the
villain is.
Yeah, right, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Incredible does takes a different take. You know who the hero is.
Yes.
And this kid might be the villain, but they didn't tell you that yet, so you don't really care.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And don't even get me started on I mean, don't even get me started on this concept of like, Mr. Incredible, glory days, superhero. Now he has to transition because superheroes are banished or whatever into the daily, the normal life, right? Of mundane, like of mundaneness, basically. And he has to like work this like insurance job that he hates, but he still feels like a hero on the inside. So he wants to
like connect it to Fight Club. We can spend a whole day on this, bro. Yeah, we can spend a whole day.
Right. And so he wants to, help people. So he's like, go to the third floor and ask Sally for her number or whatever. And then the guy who works at his insurance company, why are you giving him all the answers, Bob? We're supposed to be. Anyway, we don't have to go on.
We have to go on a whole incredible
spiel. But point is, yes. In art, especially, like, what can you do other than look to your favorites, right? Like your favorite movies,
study your greats,
study them, and trying to mimic them sometimes is really helpful
especially in film, right? Like stealing is a lot more acceptable in film than it is in other art cultures, because for film, it's not that stealing is like, we don't know how to do it, so we're going to just take what's already been done. Mm-hmm. It's like, just the human experience is a shared experience. Yeah. So when something happens, we all understand how that feels, right? And that one thing, you can apply it to different situations. Mm-hmm. And to me, like, just understanding what that thing is that creates that emotional response, you're stealing it and then you're telling it in your own way, because we all have that same experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, I've been getting into my writing bag. It's been very different for me. And I actually want to try a crazy new challenge.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
And I gotta give me like 2 seconds. I have to pull up this guy's name because it's so important. I think his name is Chris. No, I lied. His name is not Chris. It is Tyler Mowery. Mowery. I apologize if I butchered your name, but his name is Tyler Mowery. I think his name is Tyler. And he did this like crazy freaking challenge of like, all right, I'm going to write a feature screenplay in 48 hours, 2 days, right? And I'm like, all right, there's no way you can do this, because I now know the experience of a writer, and sometimes writing a scene will take you a week. Yeah, like it's just so hard to find the right thing.
This also depends on the type of writing you're doing.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. Yeah. But like
there are different. You have your R.L. Steins.
Because in my opinion, like screenplay writing is like, it's a lot different than even playwriting, because
they all have a little different. Not just like style, but sometimes even goals.
But also, because a lot of times, although you still have like setting, like who, what, when, where, why at the beginning, you have to write it like the format. It's like MLA versus Chicago. Like you have to like.
Yeah, but once you're locked into the format, it's whatever you're writing, it's not that hard.
It's very similar. But obviously, if you're writing like a narrative, like a book or something, then you're gonna have to fill in, like it's not gonna be like lines. It's gonna be like, but that being said, it's just different ways of expressing it, because if you don't have it in lines, you're probably gonna have it in stage directions.
Yeah.
So, and then you get different nuances of like whichever one, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, it's really cool because it's adaptable, which is why stuff like Fences is so cool to watch.
No, Fences is like, I'm curious to see whatever the differences are between the screenplay version and the play, because it still reads exactly like a play.
I got something on my IMDb watch list. Play theater. We gotta watch. Well, you can join me if you want. Mm-hmm. But the Much Ado About Nothing movie.
I'll definitely watch that with you. Yeah. Anyway, so this challenge, right? Mm-hmm. He has to take 48 hours to write an entire feature film, and I'm thinking like, there's no way this guy's gonna be able to do that, bro. Like it has to be trash or garbage or whatever. Yeah, just all my different thoughts, right? Because again, I've gotten into the experience of what it means to be a writer now, and sometimes it is so hard to write even like half of a scene. We try to come up with characters, and then you got bogged down with, all right, let me work on developing these characters, and like, all right, cool, you develop your characters. Where's the story? So then you focus on, all right, this is the plot, and then what's the emotional story I want to tell, and then you get caught up in like
juggling.
Oh, what are the themes? What are the themes like, I should put in the movie?
Over planning is such a thing.
Yeah.
Like, and it gets me stuck a lot of the time. Yeah. I'll be like, I need the perfect like plot before I write, but sometimes you just need to start with a blank sheet of paper and just putting some thoughts down.
And that's what he was kind of expressing, right? So he started with first he just came up with different like ideas, right? Like that he wanted to explore. So he put down like space, a cave. It's like random words. It's like, oh, I kind of want to explore like what story would happen either with this location or this particular like genre or something, right? He picked that, and then from there he wrote like just a couple of characters that he thought would be interesting in these scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there he started coming up with like, all right, like what's so special about this location? What's like desired? Like how do I tie this to the character? And he did all that in like a day, I think 2 days or something, right? And then once he had like this whole outline of, all right, let me write up these particular arcs that I can do for the characters. And then also like these scenes I think are going to work. And then once he had like a very brief, simple outline, he's like, all right, let me get started on writing. And he spent that first day writing all day, right? Because he only has 48 hours. He wrote all day, got like 45 pages in, and he was like, all right, cool.
So this is like a long script.
Huh?
It's like a long script.
It's a feature film.
Oh, I assumed it was going to be like a short film.
No, it's a feature. So it's like a movie, right?
48 hours.
Yeah, he spent his whole day like, and he took breaks, of course, like snacks, lunch, and he said that would help him like with his subconscious already writing the next couple of pages while his conscious was just eating.
It's the same as like doing an essay in college. It's like, you know what I would do, bro? I would like in class, like I would have some time and I'm like, I'm going to use this class. So I'll go to like JSTOR. That's like the
JSTOR. That's the
because you got to use like the collegiate articles or whatever. I would like get my sources before I'd write the paper, and I would like because I'll be like, I want to write my paper about. Well, I was like, the way I would do it is I'm like, if I can find 3 articles that are like kind of similar in. I'll find 3 articles about the topic, and then I would see if I could find like a through line between them. So I'd say like, what's this source about? What's this source about? What's this source about? And I pick like 7 sources. And then whichever sources kind of like worked the best together, that's how I would come up with my like thesis argument or whatever. And then I would just get like a Monster Energy. And like on Fridays,
that's very healthy.
I would just, I know, right? On Fridays, I would just like sit in the study room of the
grinds
and just like type away. Like, but I already had my sources and like knew what I was going to write about. Like I had my, sort of like thesis line. And so that like a little bit of planning beforehand goes a long way.
No, and that's why he had like a couple of days beforehand where he did like an outline, like a rough outline, just to know what direction the story was going in. And so he was saying the first day, like it was obviously he felt exhausted, but he got it done, right? Second day, so much harder. He told himself that he cannot edit whatever he puts down because again, you only have 48 hours. But that second day, he said, nah, screw it. And he went back, started rewriting some of the scenes and like changing things.
You gotta like it's a script. There's got to be
of course there's a point for rewrite, but you don't have time in 48 hours.
Exactly.
Right?
See, that's the helpful part of college, in my opinion, is that it's like deadlines. Deadlines are helpful.
No, he actually explained like the good thing about a deadline is that it can become a motivation.
Exactly.
Then you have to push through it. There's a goal.
I think that's what school is the best at teaching, like how to get things done by a deadline. And like sometimes in college, you are able to get your deadlines extended because you got other stuff going on. Maybe you got life stuff going on. Maybe you got 8 other classes.
Yeah.
But it's like deadlines still are helpful because they're stressful, but like there are ways to adjust.
There's a way to create a healthy balance. Stress deadline because sometimes if you have no stress, you won't do anything
at all. Exactly.
Anything, right? Exactly, so you need the motivation. So he was saying that like second day, so much harder. He was hating what he was writing. He kept trying to rewrite things to make it more perfect because he was so anxious about, I'm going to put this on YouTube. Tons of people are going to see this and they're all going to judge me. So if I don't make my best work in these 48 hours, everyone's going to think I'm horrible. And I was like, oh, this guy is like a writer because I feel those doubts. Right. I feel them every time I try to write something. Right. And it makes me. Yeah. And it.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I'm trying to keep myself from coughing. You broke me.
Sorry. That's the Kaufman.
It's the cough. It's the cough, man, right here.
That's
bro.
the only time. That's the final time I'll make that joke.
I'm so glad I heard that, bro. Oh my god, bro. It's like when Captain America said Avengers Assemble. It's like whoa.
On the East Coast too, my allergies are way worse, especially during like springtime.
So you are the cough.
What I've noticed is like being in LA, my allergies are actually like fine comparatively. Like comparatively, like LA, like it's so much better for my immune system.
Because I mean, this year has been crazy, but it's usually a very stable climate.
Right.
Like, same thing every day.
Having a last name Kaufman and like walking around with a cough like half the time was just not. It was not the move. Because
bro, I know people would look at you like
that dude. It was. I just wouldn't tell people my last name.
Yeah, you can't tell people.
I couldn't tell people. You know,
I've heard it sometimes. Like Kevin, man, I heard that a couple of times. That was terrible.
Yeah,
that was horrible. Anyway, so
hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Everybody's gotta make their jokes.
But Tyler was feeling all of these self-doubt thoughts, and I because I have the writer experience now, I felt those same things. And what it does, it makes you want to edit yourself while you're writing.
Yeah.
Right. And this is something I've been doing my entire like writing career. And I've occasionally pumped out really good stuff because I'm only putting down stuff that like I connect with. Mm-hmm. But the issue with that is that you can't edit something that doesn't actually exist. Right. And he was explaining that having your outline is cool and all that. You can plan as many things as you want. But without actually something down, you can't go back and rewrite it and edit it and make it perfect, right? You have to
first draft.
You have to conjure something into greatness. You can't just start off with something great.
This is what I would say. Yeah, I would say you have to be okay with having a first draft, right?
Yeah.
So like it's okay to write it all out and then go back and edit. The problem is like sometimes after your first draft, you literally hate it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so sometimes I'll write my first draft and I'm like, nah. And then like having to like take the parts you like and then taking out the parts you don't like and rewriting it and rearranging it is like really exhausting. But it's like a puzzle. It's like a puzzle piece.
It is a puzzle. It's also it's a mentality that I thought I understood, but I didn't fully understand. Because even though anytime I write a draft, I'm always comfortable with it being like, all right, it's not gonna be this, it's not gonna be that. Like I have to switch things up. That's fine. But even though I was like, yeah, it's my first draft, I was still thinking like, okay, but it's my first draft. I have to make sure there's something here.
Right.
That's like good, right? I have to put something down. Mm-hmm. And so like, ironically, in me saying that I have to put something down, because it's not just something, it's something good that I'm looking for, right? I wasn't putting anything down.
Right. Because you're waiting for something good to come to mind.
Right. Yeah. Which all ties back to Applying Pressure, the documentary that J. Cole was saying after Forest Hills Drive, he was waiting for something good to come.
Right, that's the issue.
But the issue is that sometimes these things will never come.
Sometimes like with writer's block, you do need to like ponder, right? And I think I talked to this, I think I said this on the podcast a week or two ago, is that like ever since I've been, even though I've written stuff throughout college and all that stuff, like I never found myself pacing until recently, like walking around, for writer's block, like my sister does. Like it really reminded me. I was like, wow, it really walking around helps. Like walking around and like just kind of like thinking like throughout the house really helps me with writer's block, which obviously it's helped my sister too, because she just does that throughout the house.
I think pacing allows it allows you to, I feel like your conscious mind is pacing and then your subconscious is cooking. Or something like that, or vice versa, or something like that. It's like because your brain is focused on one thing, it's allowing your unfocused part of your brain to like do a different task.
Yeah, well, something like writing.
At least that's what helps. That's how it is for me.
You have to sit while you're writing, and like sitting,
it's freaking terrible.
It's like not like sometimes your best ideas do not come while sitting. My best ideas a lot of the time come when I'm like the shower, for some reason. Like and so I'll be like in the shower, just like brainstorming. Because you're just
my ideas come on walks. I mean,
walks are great. Walks are fantastic. Like I was walking back from the theater last night. That's when I got my Fresca, and like I just was like, wow, this is like a beautiful city, and the wind is nice. It was like beautiful weather. It's getting around summer, and I was like, this is what I'm talking about, because I can like brainstorm while listening to music and seeing beautiful sights and like that type of thing is perfect for writer's block because you just start being like your brain just kind of starts. It's like new input. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes I feel like when you have too much input from movies or TV or screens, like you like too much like content, like the best thing you can do is go on a walk because then you're just exploring, like observing the world around you and like taking that input in and stuff, and then you can like turn it into.
That's the thing. It's like because you're in a dynamic setting, it allows dynamic ideas to kind of like pop up. Right?
Exactly.
And he was saying that second day, first thing he did actually was go on a walk. But this is slightly different. He was going on a walk because, again, those ideas of self-doubts were happening. And so because he was so afraid that it wasn't going to be good enough, he procrastinated.
Yeah.
Right. But then I think by the end of the video, he's explaining that like, all right, what got him to get through it was like, look, the goal of this draft isn't to make it perfect. It's not supposed to be good. The goal is just to get it done in 48 hours.
Right.
So when he switched the motivation of like, I just need to put something down, it was just he was going, and he finished it actually within those 2 days.
Right.
And then he was just explaining that like, look, sometimes, and like, because again, this is a writer talking to a writer here. Sometimes your self-doubt will be so high, right? Or you're so anxious about like, is this good enough? Or your insecurities are so loud that you become stagnant.
Yeah.
Right. You feel like, oh, I'm not going to be able to grow in this direction. So I shouldn't grow at all. Right. But you shouldn't allow procrastination to hold you down. And a way to break that procrastination is just write a draft of something with the goal of it being finished and not the goal of it being the greatest story.
This is true about every task, by the way. Like this is not only applicable to the arts, right?
Yeah.
Because I realized I was talking
to cleaning, I think, even in a sense.
Our neighbor is a psych major, or he works in psychology. And I was talking to him the other day, and like he was telling me how like everything in life is like, well, a lot of things are tasks that we set, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times you might be subconsciously putting off one task because you feel like it's going to take like so much energy. It's going to have to exert so much energy in order for you to do it. This is true because sometimes you may have to write a 10-page paper, you know, but you really feel like, oh my gosh, I'm not ready to write a 10-page paper. I don't know what to write about. So you start focusing on everything else in your life other than the 10-page paper. So
sometimes giving yourself too many tasks is actually,
it's procrastinating.
It's a form of procrastination.
But it's not like the worst form because at least you're getting other shit done in the meantime, right?
Right.
So for example, you might pick that day to do your laundry because you don't want to write the 10-page paper. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And like at least you're getting your laundry done.
Yeah.
And so like, but at the end of the day, like you get the deadline, it's helpful. So throughout college for me, like sometimes, you know, I'd have to read like a lot. There was one class I had to read like so much, bro, every day. And it wasn't one of those classes where you could like skip the reading because you could just fake it. It was like this like virtual like textbook that you had to read like 20 pages, and like you could only participate in class and only really understand the exams if you read it. Kind of like, so I was like, okay, for this class, it's gonna be a lot of work. I've heard it's a lot of work. I'm gonna have to read it. But then I just was like, okay, I'll like read while I'm like doing my laundry and stuff like that. So I would like go down to the laundry room, and because I was able to have the app on my phone, I would like read a bit.
Multitasking.
If I had to wait for a washer dryer for a little bit or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, and so like multitasking is like the challenge that that's in my opinion what college really teaches you is like how to multitask. And like it's still difficult because like today I have, even after Starbound, I have to do like 2 major things that I
been putting off or something.
No, I haven't even been putting them off. It's been that we've been traveling constantly, so and like I've needed a moment in the house or the apartment to do them. But we haven't been here.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we've been here, but we haven't been here.
We haven't really been
that's
here.
What I'm saying.
This month, we weren't really here.
Like, this month has been one of the most insane months. But now it's like we're finally back. And
things are starting to slow down again, at least travel-wise.
Right. And so it's like, all right, bunker down time. But bunker downtime is exhausting, man. It really is. And I got overwhelmed a few days ago by the sheer amount of things that are going on all at once. And so I just needed to like go out and detox. And for me, like a good way to detox is walks or skateboarding or something like that, and going on the adventures. But last night I was able just to sort of like, last night was a nice refresh for me to sort of like a reset, because every once in a while you need like, a few days to reset. Billy Joel says,
God rested on the 7th day, bro. He didn't say that.
That's exactly what he said.
Wait, is that actually
but yeah,
something similar, right?
But he said, you can't afford to lose a day or two.
You can afford to lose a day or two.
Yeah. So that's why I try to remind myself every once in a while. Like if you ever feel overwhelmed, you can afford to lose a day or two. But like, just remind yourself of that. But your deadlines, you should still,
still try to stick to your. No, I think the goal is to have your deadlines and always try to work towards them. And then, yes, you will miss a day. Something will happen. Sometimes nothing will happen. You just can't do it. Don't let this moment of you not being able to do something keep you from ever doing it again. Because you're like, well, I didn't start it correctly, so I can't it happens to me a lot sometimes where I feel like, well, it didn't start correctly, so I have to put it off until I can start it perfectly.
Yeah.
And then like I'll start this whole thing. But that's another form of procrastination, just waiting for everything to work out at a perfect time. That time may never come. It might take a while.
And most people's like forms of procrastination is at least like I think most of us are able to find like a way to procrastinate in a productive way. And what I mean by that is by getting a task done that we
that's a good thing. At least you can find a way to, I don't want to call it healthy procrastination, but like
it's like it's better than like, because like what
it's better than like being in like a depressed state where you can't move.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
I've seen
like,
that too.
So like
people cannot move.
If you think like, I feel like when you imagine like procrastination, like visualize, it would be like laying down, like not like consuming or observing anything.
You're just like
just there, right? But that actually sounds like meditation to me.
It's a different type. I feel like there's meditation and then there's paralyzation.
Paralyzation?
I feel like when you're just like there, it's not because you want to be there, it's because you're paralyzed.
Right,
you feel like you can't move because if you start the thing, you're not going to do it well, or this, that, all these different thoughts.
It's like paralyzed in fear type of thing.
Yeah. It's like you're being kept from moving. Right. Not that you're taking this moment to connect with your thoughts.
It's essentially like sitting down. It's like relaxing without relaxing. Without the relaxing part.
No, right? You're basically you're lying down and stressed.
So here's the thing. Yeah, lying down and stressed. That happened to me a lot, especially throughout college, right? Yeah. And it's like if you're lying down and stressed, lying down stressed is not helpful, right? It's just stressful because you're not getting anything done and you're just laying down stressed.
It's a black hole too, because the longer you stay there, the more stressed you feel because you haven't started yet. So and it's like a loop.
If you've decided that you're going to lie down for an hour because you're stressed, but then you lie down for an hour and think about how stressed you are, that's not going to be a helpful hour. It's going to make you more stressed.
Yeah.
So like the number one thing you can do when you decide to lie down for an hour is either, take a nap or something, or try and meditate, if you're going to try to lie down and do nothing. For me, yeah, like, you all right?
Yeah, not bad. You might as well do that healthy procrastination and just meditate.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, you might as well enjoy the hour that you're lying down, no? Yeah. And like, so sometimes I would be like, okay, lying down for an hour. Don't worry sometimes for an hour. You can afford to lose an hour or two, right?
It's not to say that we're invalidating a lot of people that go through depression where like
not
feel like they cannot move at all.
Yeah. That's not at all. It's just saying try and adjust. It's kind of like what we talked about in the past. It's like you can always try to, like, the first step is turning on the light, right? So if you're like lying down in the dark, maybe there's a way to enhance like the vibe of the room so that it's slightly more relaxing, it's slightly more bearable.
Yeah.
And look, we got the candle going on right here, right? It's like candles,
some nice, pretty lighting,
are fantastic because they, enhance your smell sense and your sight sense because they're just really nice to look at. And especially if it is in the dark or something like that, and just like candlelight, beautiful. It's beautiful. So it's like
it's a whole vibe.
That's something like so. Suddenly now, if you were just sitting in kind of like beige room before, and it's like not really vibey, and you just feel. I think a lot of times your environment that you're in really affects your like mental state and stuff like that. It's like, okay, maybe turn on a desk lamp. I think desk lamps have some like really nice lighting too.
Really?
Yeah, in my opinion. So like if you just turn your like a lot of times like
overhead lights
frequently suck. Yeah. And so like turn off the overhead light, turn on a desk lamp, or turn on a candle or something like that. And suddenly,
or maybe get some cool genie light bulbs that do. It's a little wash right now, but they give you some nice colored lights.
And suddenly, it's way easier to meditate and relax.
Yeah,
because you're just like, wow,
you're appreciating
the moment,
your senses.
Yeah, in the moment, exactly. Yeah.
But just to wrap up the whole thing, so. I saw that video. I was like, wow, that's amazing, because I feel like I have so many stories that I want to tell, but I keep leaving it in states of intangibility, right? Because the whole point of the video is that your ideas might be great. They might even be brilliant, but you cannot work to make them better without translating them from thoughts to tangibility that you can work and grind and make better, right? So you need to translate that. And I have a lot of ideas where like they're great ideas, but either I don't know how to execute them, I don't have them down or whatever, right? But I don't have it in a tangible space where I can be like, all right, let me work on this now that I can actually see it in front of me, right? So I'm gonna actually take the challenge. I'm gonna do it.
Oh, you're gonna write a full feature?
That was my whole hours? Yeah, I'm gonna write a full. I have this sci-fi film I've been wanting to write.
Yeah.
For I feel like maybe a year now. I've been playing Mass Effect again recently, and like Mass Effect has a lot of the aesthetics and themes that I want to do with my own sci-fi story.
I can tell it's stimulating your.
I actually cried the other day, and that's hard for me to do.
Speaking of video games, I haven't played one in a minute, but the PS4 version, because we don't have the PS5.
Not yet.
I guess we're old men now, so we're like, we don't have them new gen.
We don't need them new gen.
Yeah, so Hogwarts Legacy, the PS4 version.
We need that game.
Comes out on May 5th, I want to say.
Oh, that's soon.
Yeah, so
that's a week.
Yeah. It came out on like PS5 like a month earlier, but like it comes out on PS4 like May 4th, and I actually want to get that because then we can just be fucking Hogwarts students and just
like roam around and be like
zap people with like that'll be cool. That'll be cool. Yeah,
I want to kill like a lot of students.
That would be so fun.
That would be so cool.
That'd be so flying through the trees. And I've seen some footage.
Wait, you can do that?
Yeah, you get to like free roam in like on the broomstick and shit.
That's what I'm talking.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. See that I'm thinking about that game.
So am I, bro. I'm very excited.
But yeah, so I'm taking the challenge. I want to start it. I was gonna actually I saw the video yesterday and felt so motivated. I was like, oh, I'm gonna start tomorrow. But I have other things I have to do, like Starbound.
There's always
today,
something to do. That's what I'm saying. There's always something to do.
A couple other things I gotta do.
Today I gotta write a bunch of emails, but probably not send them until Monday so people actually get them. That's what I've noticed too. It's like you can't really send emails on the weekend because people don't see them.
People don't check them. And then there's a whole back catalog of emails, and then maybe they won't see it on Monday.
Yeah. And now I got to also do some line learning and stuff like that today. So
yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like I was going to start it today, but then I was like, all right, I know I want to start it today. And that impulse is good. And I'm going to hold on to it, but let me just hold off. And this isn't a procrastination way. This is I don't have the time to give it day. Right. So I'm going to try and start I'm going to try doing the outline Monday, and then Tuesday going in. Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm just going to write for like 2 days, just cranking out a feature.
All right, I'm excited for that. That'll be fun.
And look, it's going to be terrible.
Well, you're not.
I want everyone to know.
Wait, are you gonna drop it just like so people can read it? Or
no, I was just because I'm sharing. I'm going to do it. I mean, if people, no.
Well, I was gonna say yeah.
I can't share that with people.
Well, after you're done with the 48 hours, though, the idea is that you're gonna tweak it, right?
Yeah. The idea is that I have something tangible. You're just work off of.
You're just trying to let people know that you're not expecting it to be perfection.
I'm telling them like, look, this, and it's also I'm telling them, but I'm also telling myself like, this is going to be some of my worst writing I've ever done in my life. It's going to be terrible.
But you're going to get.
But you know what? It exists, which puts me in a different position than a lot of people out there who have these brilliant ideas, they will never exist because you didn't put the work to like try to make it happen.
It starts with pen to paper.
It starts with a pen and a motherfucking paper,
bro.
Pen
to paper.
So
it starts with pen to paper.
Yeah. I'm excited to start that. Again, outlining Monday. I think I'm gonna spend at least half the day just working on the outline.
Yeah.
Because again, Tyler's my guy now, bro. Tyler Mowery. I'll figure out his last name. But Tyler's my guy now.
Wait, is he the one that wrote that the car script?
No, that's my other friend Richard Townsley.
Wait, so how did you meet this Tyler?
I didn't meet this Tyler. He's just a YouTuber.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
I saw his video about
videos, and you were like,
literally, I just saw his video last night.
How do you spell his last name? People want to check him out.
Yeah. Here, let me tell y'all. Let me put y'all on to Tyler Mowery because he's the coolest guy, bro. This video is amazing. Tyler Tyler, and then Mowery is spelled Mowery. So literally just search up Tyler Mowery. He has a bunch of videos, got like 100,000 views on some of these. These are crazy, bro. These are crazy. But like, shout out that guy. I love his videos about writing. I kind of want to read one of his things to see like what he's on and like what are his like goals. I want to know more about this guy. Yeah. He put me on, bro. Like you put me on. So shout out that guy. Check out his videos if you're a creative or even not a creative.
We love it supporting your favorite.
So I'm saying support your favorite artists. YouTube content creator is an artist in my opinion.
Yeah.
So
any art, bro. Any art is art. That's what it's.
The whole point of the art is that you need to support it. That's what it is.
What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, are we seeing Shazam 2 today?
Let me see.
I think we might not have time because we.
I was gonna say I don't know if we have time. And also on top of that, it's actually hard to find a theater for it.
Really?
I just checked. There's one theater in Orange County that's showing it.
Only one. How long has it been out?
I think only like a month.
I swear. What?
I don't know what's going on.
No English.
Check Fandango. Like I checked it and I was like,
all right. I'll check after the episode. But I mean, I might not have time today anyway.
We might not have time today, but I definitely I'm down to like go to like
a time though, because like I need to like I've been to the
no I know I feel you, bro. Even if it's like at a random theater like that's far away, I'm down to take the journey to like go explore a new place, check out this theater, see it, get back home. But like it's gonna be a little bit more complex than just going to Regal, which is just right in the city.
I feel like I haven't been to the theater since Black Adam or something like that.
Yeah, it's weird. It's not. I don't know if it's society, but I feel like movies are getting out of theaters sooner than when they used.
To. Also here's the thing. It's like I feel like when I was on the East Coast, like before we moved out here, I was like watching like so many like movies, TV, all this stuff, and then like when I get out here, I find that I'm like not watching that much of it. And I think it's just because we're like, it's like a mix of the fact that we've just had to like jump into like the creation process of it.
Yeah.
But it's like still important to consume because
it's so important.
You need to like, it helps because consuming helps a lot with writer's block and a lot with all that stuff. So it's good, especially in college when you do have some time to watch movies and stuff to do that because you get, it's like fuel for if you're trying to pursue the arts after school. And
I think it's just a mental game of before you were doing it because you were procrastinating from other things. You were trying to entertain yourself. So it was actually easier to then watch things. But
you took notes still. Like you still took subconscious notes while you were watching. Even it's actually helpful later. Yeah, exactly.
But like, I guess it's like, how do you balance that with also you want to create and it shouldn't feel like homework, even though it is homework.
Right.
Like I think it's just now that you actually have to think about it and balance it, it makes it again like that procrastination where it's like, oh my God, like how do I actually do that?
Yes. How do I on an actual like logistical like scale make this happen?
Yeah.
In the next blank amount of time.
Yeah.
And that is like that, like you gotta just ask like the most like root questions. It's okay. Sometimes you gotta drop one project, start another, or you gotta do a 1-day project but it's like, if you need to get something done, what's your time frame? How are you gonna do it?
Yeah.
Will you actually do it?
Yeah. Can you give it the time that it needs?
Yeah.
Again, I'm gonna do this challenge. I'm gonna probably have the same struggle that Tyler went through.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel a sense of motivation in the sense that it doesn't actually have to be good.
Yeah.
So I can just write whatever.
Yeah. That I'm excited to see how that happens and what comes out of that. In my next few days, I do have to do my immediate concern is audition.
Okay.
And so learning lines. And
learning lines again. I mean, that's never been a problem for you, but like
I know
it's been a while,
but it's been a minute, because of mainly, honestly, I feel like COVID and stuff like that.
No, I feel that.
It just feels like, well, also because moving to a new city and trying to navigate like the theater world of Los Angeles has been so interesting. Like it's been
not
cool,
as one-dimensional.
It's been cool. So I've been going out and seeing shows. I've been meeting a lot of people in the industry, and like now I have their emails and I have been exchanging them. And like there's a few theater companies that I'm like looking at like joining in like in the coming months. But like then there's also the writer's strike in Los Angeles, which is actually slowing down a lot of production out here.
Yeah.
And like a lot of the ways the jobs work out here is like it's in months. It's like, okay, there's a lot happening this month, but then there's nothing happening this month. But because
that's the type of industry that we're in, bro.
Right? But because there's like a decent amount of money in movies and stuff, like usually, if you're able to like establish your reputation enough, ideally you'll get enough money from a commercial here, a commercial there, or something like that, that you'll be able to pay the rent and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then like the theater is more so like it seems like it doesn't pay as much, because theater's not known to pay as much.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the more like regular thing that you can do. Like, because it's frustrating when, you might work for like a month and then for like 3 months, you can't work at all.
Yeah, so, no, you didn't join this industry to have a stable job. Bro.
Right. But it would be nice.
Shit on 9-to-5ers, but like 9-to-5ers got like, they're right, bro.
It's a constant.
It's
right?
stable.
It's a constant. And like a constant such as theater is awesome because you get to like focus on one script, learn your lines, train your character. You know what I'm saying? Like really like do all that. And so especially for the film industry where, you might act on a TV series or something for 3 months and then go home for 6. If you're able to go home for 6 and do some acting, an actor who does this is like Hugh Jackman. Like whenever he's not in a movie, you see his name on Broadway. If you go to
I just saw a video of him doing like a show.
He did a Music Man on Broadway, I think. And it's like a lot of like English actors do that. And it's like it's so that you can stay busy and like keep your acting like fresh. Like
you gotta keep also your name.
And because it's, in my opinion, I mean, personally, I think I like theater.
Oh, is some controversy? You're gonna start some TMZ. Zoom in.
Personally, I believe I've come to the conclusion that I like theater acting more than film acting.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ!
And I'm feel like
all of our film viewers.
I know, but I still like film acting. I like it, but
it's a different art.
It's a different art. Yeah, I like it. But I mean, when we do it, I like when I'm not in the shot that I can be useful and I can like hold the boom mic and I can do this and I can do that. And like the amount of downtime though in like the amount of downtime usually in like a Los Angeles film set type thing, it's like different because it's not like I'm going to pick up the boom mic and like help with the shot.
No, like the bigger the production is, the more that every person has a very one specific task to handle. And so you're going to have a lot of downtime between.
But I love like staying busy, especially if it's like theater or film. And so the concept of like having too much downtime and not enough acting in like succession, because I love like staying like I love like getting into character, right? And then like when I'm off stage or something, I typically like I would say I'm not like fully still in character when I'm off stage because you have to like walk around, you have to like talk to people, you have to like get ready for cues and stuff. But I try to remain in like the mindset like of the character like while I am putting on a theater production. So like it's always been like that.
It's easier to do in theater where like you're literally on stage for like an hour.
You remember
depending on the role.
You remember Streetcar when you guys had to take me backstage and like pour the water on my head like before I went back on?
Yeah.
Like that is a great example because like in order for like we went off stage, so nobody saw us. Yeah. So you did have to get my hair wet with water as if you were like, what was it? Where were you supposed to be shoving?
You're supposed to be putting you in the shower to like clear your
hair. Yeah. You're supposed to be putting me in the shower because I was in like a fit of rage or something.
And the water's supposed to like snap you kind of back out.
Right. And you could have just poured water on my head, and I could have run back out on the stage acting like a fit of rage, right? But instead, because it helped my character more, we like you had me like laid down. You and Jacob kind of, was it Josh too? I can't remember if it was Josh too. It might have been. I think it was mostly you and Jacob though.
Josh was there too. Josh was there too. I just think me and Jacob were the drivers of that.
Yeah, because we just had like this like bucket, like, or like this like small.
Did we dump it on you?
It was like
did we dump you in the bucket?
It was like a Tupperware container.
That was big.
It wasn't that big, was it? It was kind of small.
Pretty sizable.
Okay, yeah, but not like
It was no, it wasn't like huge.
Yeah.
It was like
so we had this Tupperware container, and so I had to like run off stage, and then like you guys were carrying me because you had to like pick me up and stuff. And then I like laid down.
You're pretty heavy, bro. I think you punched one of us one time.
That was an accident. That was during rehearsal.
That's fine.
It was
I punched Jacob too.
It was Josh.
We all punched each other in that.
Right. It happens. Yeah. Because you guys had to like catch me and stuff. And I remember like I swung as you guys were holding me back, and I just nipped Josh's nose. That's what happened. Sorry, Josh.
Look, man, when you're in the scene, you're in the scene.
Right. But then like what I was trying to say was that when we went off stage and you guys did the waterboarding, I was staying in character because it helped to get back on stage and like remain in character. So you guys, like, I put my head at in kind of the Tupperware container, almost like when you're at the barber and they want to like shampoo your hair ahead of time, like, you know what I mean? They want to like do that or something. You kind of lay it down like that, and then you guys just start pouring this water bottle like all over my face, and I like remained like. I was like, hey, I like it, and I was like, kind of,
It doesn't work like that in film.
Exactly.
If it was a movie instead, it would be like, you're off, right? Cut. Makeup artist comes in, puts the water on you. All right, look, you just got dumped in water. Ready? Go.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, filming is really snapping into the scene and not acting through the scene.
Right, which I appreciate for what it is.
Yeah, it's a different art.
And I liked doing it, again, for Who Killed Mr. President, like all that stuff. Like, we did that, you know, and I'm
it's like, look, this just happened.
It's fun. It's fun, and especially for like Who Avenged Mr. President, it's like the voiceover is also fun because then I get to do this sort of narration, and it's like not only is my acting like in the shot, but it's my voiceover acting that's like on top of the shot. So that's cool because that one's like a double. I get to do both and stuff like that, which obviously you don't really get to do narration in like theater sometimes. I mean, there are some special occasions where you do get to do narration in theater that I've seen that have been sick, but like usually you don't get like a voiceover.
It's not a very common place.
But I usually like staying in character to a certain degree, and I feel like I can do that more in theater than in film.
You never do that way more. Again, like, it's two different goals, right? One of them asks you, all right, you need to snap into character. The other one is asking, like, all right, you need to live into this. And again, it's also a type of living in the snapping, but when that camera's off, you gotta. I mean, some people try to stay in character, but you got to kind of get out of character so you can set up the next shot.
That's what I'm saying.
For theater, it's like you need to live through this character for like 2 hours at a time so that the audience can stay engaged.
Right. Yeah, very different. But we've done, Black Mamba, like we did.
No, we're not saying it like we don't know what we're talking about for either art form. Right. We know what we're talking about. That's why we brought it up.
But the interesting thing is that East Coast raised guerrilla filmmaking that we did is so different than the industry filmmaking of the West Coast, because like our industry in DC is politics, right? Yeah. And then LA's industry is like show business, right? And so like the connections that we had to film and theater in DC were not nearly as the interesting thing actually is that DC does have a pretty fire theater scene.
It's low key though.
Theater scenes in general are like, except for like New York, are kind of like you have to seek them out. You know what I'm saying? But it does have like pretty good theater scene, like because LA actually doesn't have like a crazy.
I think all the money really went into the entertainment and film here. So the film scene here is crazy sometimes, but the theater scene is not the same.
But it's interesting because like being raised on the East Coast, it's like I know a bunch of people that are in politics or have political connections, right? So like DC would be a great place to be raised if you wanted to go into politics.
No, yeah, you're right next door, bro.
But then, like, if you want to be a part of the film industry, like
being born and raised here would be very helpful.
It would be. I feel like it'd be more helpful than DC. But then, because it's like less accessible in DC, there's some skills that you have to pick up on in like on your own because you don't have everybody telling you how to do it. Yeah. So you gotta like start researching on your own, and that's helpful skills. The research and like how do you learn the industry, know which industry you want to be in, and which city is the hub of the industry you want to be in, and how you want to do it.
That's the thing. Then you start asking all these questions, and then you start going to these places with your expectations, and maybe it meets in some ways, doesn't meet in others. Mm-hmm. But I think the general idea is you should find yourself where you want to be.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And it's okay that there's processes of trial and error.
Yeah, you might end up in a place that you don't want to be, but if you got to the point where you figured out that you don't want to be here, that's beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. Because then it was worth it. But also try to enjoy while you're there. Because here's what I will say, bro. Like, the skateboarding is so much easier on the West Coast because it's flat.
Yeah. What?
Like, the roads, it's a desert, so it's like flat.
We're in the valley.
And like the roads are like wider on the West Coast, or at least in LA.
Because I think it's more populated too.
And like on the East Coast, from what I've noticed, like the sidewalks are small and they're like half the size of the sidewalks.
It's like Europe because it's like European style compared to like American style, where like the East Coast is the original 13 colonies, and if you look at Europe, like it's packed. Yeah, it's small, small roads, small sidewalks. Like that's the style.
Right.
But once you go out into like, all right, America is no longer Europe anymore. Let's expand and do other things. America has so much land that it just makes everything so much bigger.
Right.
And so I think that's probably part of why like sidewalks here are
that's what I'm saying. And so different. Although, sometimes it feels like the film scene is huge here and the theater scene is smaller, that much is true, but it's also like I've been really enjoying like skateboarding around here. And so I love Los Angeles for the fact that I can skateboard through downtown and get this like New York-esque feeling, especially like skateboarding past all these like abandoned theaters and stuff like that. They're mostly like movie theaters on like the Broadway street, like in downtown that I wouldn't maybe be able to do in another city because the streets won't be as wide. So like what I'm trying to say is that there's ups and downs to every city and every place that you're going to be in. Part of me is like, considered like New York and stuff like that. Cause I feel like for me, it was kind of like New York or LA. Like that was kind of my thing. And I wanted to do LA because we always loved making film growing up and stuff like that.
Movies is the way to go.
But at the same time, I still want like regular roots in like theater because that's what I've been doing my whole life. Literally since like, I don't even know. Like,
yeah, you can put a date on stuff like that.
I mean, I think it was second grade or something.
Yeah, I think the first time I picked up a camera and told a story was like,
oh yeah. I mean, I remember like I don't even remember the first thing I made. It was like at my house, the videos we used to make and stuff like that with like little like webcam.
Yeah, I remember it. This is a top secret thing. If someone ever finds this film, then like I'd be shocked. I made 3 like 20-minute long superhero movies when I was like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
And first of all, super cringy. But secondly, they're actually quite good.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, yeah,
I hope it never sees the light of day. If you happen to find it somehow.
In college, I found these old clips of this like video that me and my sister and a few of our friends made in like we were like probably like 10. And I found all the clips from the webcam, but we didn't know how to edit. We didn't even know how to get the footage on the computer. We just like shot all the clips. And so I was like in college and I'm like, what if I edited this together? We always like kind of wanted to because now I know how. And I did. And it was hilarious. It was so ridiculous. I wonder if I can find it's probably on the hard drive.
I had a very similar experience where I found all my old clips, try to put the stories together, and it was great.
Yeah. But that's what I'm talking about. That's that early filmmaking. That's like
that's where like the root of storytelling came from.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's what, again, like now that I'm in a very weird position where like I'm not in school right now, but I'm going back to school. But like when I was in school, I forgot what that root was. So it was very difficult for me to figure out like, why do I like this movie? Why do I want to make it?
Yeah.
But then out of school and telling stories outside of it, I was like, oh, it's an innate. There's a
start
story
to
that you
forget,
just want
right.
to express, right? And then now that I have the tools, let me just apply it and then make it what it is.
When you study, I feel like sometimes you really start to forget why you liked it in the first place because you just like get so consumed in the worlds, right? Like, because I
get bogged down by all this, like, do it this way. You're supposed to do this.
That's what I'm saying.
Make sure you start off like this. Just all these rules.
That's what I'm saying. And in fact, I think sometimes like the number one thing you're studying can become very like overwhelming because you're taking like most of your classes on it, and then like you grow to like kind of push it off for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because for me, I majored in film and then minored in theater and music, and so like the like film, like after college, I actually felt a slight like aversion to it because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so exhausted from like watching all the movies and I love movies so much, but I've noticed that like since we've been out to LA, I'm like, okay, I've watched movies back to back for the past like 4 years and like done this, like I need a break from movies for a little bit. And then like I've dived more into like theater and music since I've been out here. And that's felt like really good actually. And like, I'm not sure if that's because,
I feel the same way.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Like, I have like periods where I'm like, all right, right now I'm a producer rapper.
Yes, exactly. It's like what two
right
titles?
Now I want to do this, but then while you're in it, you get what's the word? Burnt out. I think
Burnout.
You get burnout, and then you're like, all right, I need to switch something up because I'm going insane. And so for me, at least, it was I switched into music for like a period of time.
Right.
Drop something. I'm like, all right. And right now, I'm like, I don't say I'm sick of music because I always love music, but I'm sick of music, right? So I switched back into film. Like, all right, I like doing this now.
We still it's funny because there's a lot in the vault for music, by the way. Like we still got. I want to get back to some of the stuff because there's still like
we have too many things
in the vault. So it's not like it's like the season's over, but it's just like on pause for other stuff.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's not that any of these arts, because I love all of them so in their own special ways, they're not ever going to stop.
Yeah,
it's just they have to be on pause,
right? Because
my energy is going elsewhere.
You gotta put, and deadlines make it so you gotta adjust here and there. Right now, I would say over the month of April, my titles have been actor, writer. Like those are the main two, right? Because I've been focusing on theater, like trying to study up, like go see a lot of shows, study up on Shakespeare, like all this stuff, and then also study up on writing and the craft of writing and how to write. We even I wrote for we came up with a concept and came up with a little something that, and so I was able to write like a good chunk of a script for that we might adjust still, but
no, it's definitely going to be adjusted, but we have something.
Yeah, we have something, which is exciting. I like it, and it's cool because it's kind of the first thing I think that we've kind of written. We've written together a lot, but usually it's like we have a first draft of a script and then one of us will give tips on like how to adjust the script.
Yeah, I feel like we've worked together compartmentally. We're like either I'll have a draft or you'll have a draft. We check it, we add a couple things here, we make some adjustments, and it's kind of like a byproduct of both.
Right.
But ironically enough, we haven't like fully from the initiation collaborated on a writing project.
Not on writing, but I think the closest thing to what we're working on with this script is the beginning's end.
The beginning's end. It's funny. I feel like I had some tools and you had the fuel, and that was the most together at the same.
I think that was the most collaborative, but also Who Avenged Mr. President was also hella we worked on that too.
Not in the same. I feel like the way that the beginning's end is like the deepest. Like every part of the beginning's end, we literally did together. There was no part.
Right, we were in the same room for all of it, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. So sometimes you come up with a hook, sometimes I come up with a hook.
If we weren't in the same room, we were on the PS4 coming up with the hooks.
That's what I'm saying. No, we were together in every step of the process of that particular project.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And then we added some more things to the fold.
So I feel like this script is like our brainchild.
This script is like another collaboration of ours where we're doing things together.
Right.
And we're kind of following every step of the way. We're trying to figure it out together. I'm like, all right, where do we want to take it here? do you want to take it here? Do this here? And it's funny. It's
I'm
cool.
excited. I'm excited for this one.
I'm also very excited. It's different for us. I feel like we haven't. We always work together, but we haven't collaborated like this in a while.
We got our own mini writer's room. That's what it feels like. It's just like 2-person writer's room.
Speaking of writer's room, I kind of want to start moving my desk into the living room because, we were talking. I was talking to Soraya, and
I did that once in my college dorm because I got during COVID.
Oh, I thought you were talking about talking to Soraya. I did that once.
I talked to Soraya as well, but no, I meant that no, during COVID, like there was a time in college that I got a dorm, and so the nice dorms at UMBC are like you get like this living room and a bathroom in the dorm, right? And then there's like a bedroom here, and usually there's 2 people in the bedroom, and then there's another bedroom attached, and there's 2 people in that bedroom, and you meet up in the living room with the couch for like the suite or whatever. And so like the first 2 years at UMBC, it was like me and Harry in the one bedroom, and then like Tim and Max in this other bedroom. And then we'd have like the suite, and we'd all like chat in the living room and stuff, right? But then during COVID, like Harry and them, they didn't go on campus. So there was a brief time, because it was just like the one semester, where I lived on campus because I was like doing RA stuff, but I was like, I had one of the rooms, the bedrooms, to myself, and there was no roommate because COVID. So they only had one person per room. But then there was nobody in the other side either, because I just got like, it just so happened that there was just nobody living there. Right. Yeah. So I had the living room and the bedroom just all to myself.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, I think I want to move my workspace. I was talking to Soraya. She was saying that she likes to have her workspace and where she sleeps in 2 different spaces. Yes. So it creates 2 different mentalities.
It does.
I'm starting to feel like I've always had my workspace in my bedroom just so I can like lock in, have my privacy or whatever. But I'm starting to feel like maybe having these 2 things blended is not the healthiest combination. And I'd like to try my workspace being different from my sleep space.
That's why during college I'll go to the study rooms to write, because like I do think that like sometimes like work, like essays, all that stuff, it combines with like stress, like and then like if you are in the same room where you're sleeping as where you were stressed about writing your paper a few minutes ago, it like your brain doesn't like adjust accordingly, and it stays stressed, right? Yeah. Which is why like I'll take my laptop. I don't even notice. Like I take my laptop out here a lot of the time to do work and stuff like that.
Pump out some stuff.
Exactly, because it's like sometimes I still like it in my room. It depends on the vibe of the day, but like I do like being able to have it like easily transportable to different locations.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't have a laptop anymore because of COVID. And I thought that we were gonna stay in that for like years. So I invested in a Mac. But now that I have this Mac, I feel like switching it up. So maybe I'll put it next to this window or something. Just like hang out.
Yeah. We got a good space here, good creative space.
So. I don't know. Let's just try it I'm gonna try it for like a week just to see where it takes me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that'll have to be after, because this coming week for me is lock in 48 hours. Finish a screenplay.
You know what's a different note though is that like for college I needed the laptop because it was like easily transportable from dorm to dorm, right? And then my brother like at home, who's still in high school, was able to like sort of pimp out his like computer and stuff like that.
A whole PC setup, dude. That guy is no joke.
Especially because my dad's an IT guy, kind of knows how to like set up that sort of thing. But then like my laptop started like how laptops degrade over the years and then they don't do as well. And especially like, being a film major, then it made like exporting stuff like so difficult, because like exporting like even like Starbound, the first bunch of episodes we did weren't like live. Now we got it live, so they're uploaded immediately, which is sick. But I had to like export them in these like, and they were technically just like hour-long videos, so they would take overnight to like.
No, that's the thing. That's why I still technically have my laptop, but it's too old now to process the type of things that I want to process.
Right.
So I couldn't imagine like I have an hour long. It's a video. There's an image and there's a sound.
Right.
So it's like it took a while.
There was a few times that like during during college that like my projects on my laptop, because they were so hefty in Premiere, like that I could not export them. So I would have to go home and like use my hard drive to transfer all the files to Jay's computer just to export them. That's the film student struggle.
That's rough.
Like exporting, a laptop is like
no. I understand why there's like whole exporting farms, just like a super computer servers, just pumping out content.
Exactly.
It is probably the most heftiest part of the whole process.
It's so tiring. Export. Yeah. But
that's not where my
that's the other thing, bro. Half of it is creation. Half of it is troubleshooting. Like troubleshooting is like
sometimes the creation comes out of the troubleshooting.
Yeah, true.
Sometimes in creating something, you gotta troubleshoot.
Troubleshooting is like the most exhausting part to me. It's just like so tiring.
That's not the most fun part for me. Actually, that's a lie. I feel like that there's a center part between creating and troubleshooting that I love.
I agree.
I love being on a set and coming up with ideas on how to troubleshoot.
Creative problem solving.
Yes. Mm-hmm. That I think is where the peak of my abilities are, but also just like what I love to do.
Yeah,
problem.
That's so true. That's so true. Like troubleshooting is either like such a pain in the ass, but then like it is such a pain in the ass. But then when you figure it out, it's like one of the most rewarding feelings.
Yeah. And again, like troubleshooting is there's different types of troubleshooting in all the different processes that goes into like film or theater. And some of them are more rewarding than others. Like for me, on set, like problem solving and troubleshooting is fun for me.
Yeah.
Editing, troubleshooting, and problem solving is not fun for me, personally. Some people, they get kind of a kick out of trying to puzzle out how can they do this in the best way.
Bro,
writing, problem solving, and troubleshooting is not the best for me, at least right now.
Actually, for me, I like writing troubleshooting.
I don't like that part.
I like editing troubleshooting. Nah, because then you just gotta don't even get me started on Photoshop.
Man, I'm not talking about Adobe right now,
bro.
Adobe, look. I am so loyal to your products, but we have beef, all right? You need to fix that scratch disk bullshit, all right?
Photoshop is one of like
scratch disk, the amount of crashing on the Premiere, fix that, okay? And then we'll settle our beef. Really, but until then, I'll smoke y'all.
It's so crazy, bro.
It's not right, bro. How are you like one of the? Because I feel like Adobe is like one of the creme de la cremes in creative applications.
Yeah.
Yet they suck,
dude. Well, I mean, one of the funniest things of me out here is like you come out here trying to act and stuff, and they tell you to use like Actors Access and Backstage and stuff, and then you go to Actors Access, and it's one of the most ancient-looking websites you've ever seen. It looks like. And I think I might have said this before. It just looks like it was made in like 1982.
That's what I said about Avid too, the editing software.
And it's like, how is this the industry standard? Because like
because it is ancient,
right? And you're used to like building up your like LinkedIn profile on the East Coast, and then you come out here in the film industry, and like nobody uses LinkedIn, and you're just like, what the? So it's like even like the film industries on the East Coast and the West Coast are just not similar. Also, I kind of come from like a sports background on the East Coast because I got to do like the cameras for my college basketball games and stuff. And like that's applicable in the technical aspect of being able to like use a camera, right? Which is helpful out here.
Use a sports camera too. That's different. You gotta be live, but that's
exactly right. It was fun. It was like the zoom in, the focus and stuff like that. It's really fun. But like then it's still not applicable. It's applicable in a lot of ways, but it's also not applicable in a lot of ways, if that makes sense. It's not directly transferable. The people don't know each other. Yeah. So the connects don't know each other, but the skills are very.
That's the thing. That's another key part of like whatever you want to go, and you kind of got to try and be a part of that network as much as you can, because this group that know each other here are not the same as this group that knows each other here.
Right.
And if you're stuck in one place, it might be even not harder for you to get.
That's the thing. It's like you kind of got to surround yourself with people that you want to be associated with in the industry, right? So if you want to do theater, you got to go to theater shows. If you want to do sports camera, you got to go to basketball games.
Be where you want to be.
Be where you want to be.
Be where you want to be.
And anyway, try to be.
We should probably start wrapping up this pod.
This has been a great episode. I feel like we finally got to like sit down and like not have our 40-minute Zoom call that like gets cut off by the the Zoom.
That's what I'm saying. We're catching up on so much lost time here that we haven't been able to talk about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. 40 minutes cutting off my stories. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm glad we got to actually like sit and divulge a little bit. Also, I feel like because this month has been crazy and we've both been kind of like all over the place in different situations, we haven't actually got time to like
catch up.
Not even just like catch up on what we've been doing, but communicate our personal thoughts.
That's agree.
That's a different process.
Yeah, I agree.
We're like, well, let's lock in on like what ideas am I connecting with right now?
Yeah.
And let me share that with you. And are you connecting with them? Are you not? In what way? Like,
we
haven't done that. And I feel like we've
had like separate Aprils, but like they were both like they overlapped in like every other time because we'd have to do Starbound.
Or we've had quiet moments where we could try to reconnect them, but we have had very separate Aprils. So kind of it's nice to kind of come back at the end of April now and be like, all right,
it is.
Here we are.
It feels really good to be back in person for this episode. I feel like it feels like it's been a long time, even though it probably hasn't been that
Technically,
long.
We had one 2 weeks ago, but we already had the mindset of like, all right, next episode though, you're over here, I gotta be over here.
Yep.
Like very separate schedules.
Yep.
But we're back, baby.
Back in the stew,
Starbound.
We got the lights, we got the setup.
We got the candle actually now, which I think it's a vibe.
That's what I'm saying. That's a good candle.
Dr. Pill right behind me doing his thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, life is good.
Life is good. And to wrap up April, I flew back from not 2 days ago or something, and then still there was already a bunch to do, and we got to hang with Justice a little bit, and we also I got to go to Six Flags yesterday, like I said, and that was cool because they had some of the rides themed around Batman and stuff like that. So I got to see the Batman ride was the Batcave and stuff like that. And
you also went to the Hall of freaking Justice. I saw that picture.
It was so cool.
Justice. That was cool.
I didn't even know that. I didn't really know that much about this Six Flags. This was Six Flags Magic Mountain, but I've been to the one near us in Maryland, which is Six Flags America is what it's called, I think. And some of the rides were similar.
It seems different because the Batman ride you described does not sound like the Batman ride that we took.
Well, I don't think it was the same exact. I don't know how
because in that one, I think we were literally laying flat upside down.
No.
Yes, bro.
Maybe I'm wrong. But I remember us I thought it was one of the ones where it just locks you in and your feet are dangling.
No, it was more than just a feet. It was a feet. It was your feet are kind of dangling, but you're also you're looking at the ground, bro. That joke was crazy.
I think it was the same thing as the Batman or similar. I don't know if it's the same exact ride because I don't know.
It's also been a decade since we were there.
So. Are roller coasters built in a factory where they're the same? Is the Batwing literally the same shape as the Batman?
I'm gonna say no.
That's what I'm assuming. That's what I'm assuming. Yeah. But you could hypothetically just make
you could make just micro adjustments, and try to just fit it to whatever terrain it is.
Right.
But I feel that's not even a smart thing to do because it's more profitable to have different experiences and you have to go to both.
I agree, but also most people probably. Well, some people would go to both for the different experience.
No, some people won't. But if you create a very different experience, I think people will, right? Yeah. I still want to go to Disney World, even though I've been to Disneyland.
Yeah. Anyway, at this Six Flags, X2 was the best ride, in my opinion.
X2.
Because
I'm not a ride.
It was kind of like the Batwing and the same holding you down. But it was crazy, bro. It was spinning you nuts. It was short, but it was nuts. And
you told me about that fire thing. That was crazy.
The fire thing was crazy. And yeah. But then the Batman was cool. There was a Wonder Woman ride, the Riddler's Revenge. Those ones were fun.
Yeah. What's as we wrap this up, what's the top 3 rides you recommend at Los Angeles' Six Flags?
There's one that I didn't get to go on because it was closed. It was this drop tower.
That always happens at Six Flags.
I know.
There's always something closed.
I know. It's so annoying.
Probably because they keep trying to freaking kill people and somebody dies. So they have to close it, bro.
I can't remember of the first few rides. I can't remember what they were called. But I remember that X2 was the best one.
X2 was best.
And the Batman out of the Riddler and Batman one, I think the Batman was my next favorite.
Oh. Yeah. And then what's third?
I don't know.
Oh, so then that third spot is kind of like shared between the different.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'd have to like go back. I think I had to leave early too because I accidentally double booked yesterday, so I had the theater show to see in downtown.
I love an accidental double book. I've triple booked once, and it was terrifying.
It was exhausting because yesterday I was at the top of a roller coaster. But what I will say is the best part about this Six Flags is that the view from the top of the roller coaster is so beautiful because it's mountainous.
That's what I love about LA, bro. The mountains. I was just talking to Tyler about it. We were on a parking garage and we saw the mountains. We're like, that view right there is why.
It was beautiful. That being said,
I keep staying.
That being said, I have a new appreciation for the trees on the East Coast.
So. No, it's not that it says that it's better than anything else. It's just different.
It's just different.
I mean, it has its own thing.
That was my favorite part about the difference, I think, is that it was a different view than I got to see at Six Flags Maryland or whatever.
Yeah, you're not going to see too many.
Yeah, and so that was really sick. And then later I got to go to downtown and see this beautiful theater production. The set design was really cool. It was very simple, but the lighting is what drove it crazy. It was so cool.
We'll have to talk about that on the next episode.
Yeah. Let's get into we're getting into other stuff. Also, I still haven't talked about Richard III, but it was really
cool. It's on the queue.
It's on the list.
It's on the list. We got so many things to talk about.
We have so many things. Anyway, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for joining us on this episode 32.
I think it's 32, something 32, like that.
Maybe 33. Yeah. I don't really care. Y'all can just see in the title below.
Yeah.
Check the title below. It's not quite the same, is it?
Check the title below. I think the title goes above.
Check the title above.
Well, actually, no shit. You're right. It does go. Wait.
It depends on which. Is it the YouTube or
Well, on laptop? YouTube, it's
Or I'm sorry, phone versus laptop.
It does depend on what you're watching on.
If it's your laptop, check the title above.
I would assume most people are watching on their phones.
If you're checking on your phone, check the title below.
Wait, maybe.
One of these, all of them.
Wherever it is.
Whatever.
One or the other.
One or the other. Anyway, it's been your host, King Kajo.
And Cough Drippy.
And 2 Chainz.
Peace. All right, here we go.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.